Salesmanship is one of the most critical skills an entrepreneur can possess. The ability to sell investors, customers, and employees on your concept, products, and vision is crucial. Earle Malm proved he had that skill at a very young age in a Boy Scout fundraiser where he reinvented how popcorn balls were sold. His Boy Scout troop needed to sell popcorn balls to earn money for summer camp. Earle wasn't interested in summer camp, but he did want to sell the most popcorn balls. Instead of selling individual pieces door to door, Earle sold them in 100-count packages. His early entrepreneurial style broke selling records, and his earnings sent the whole troop to camp. Earle himself never did go to camp, but his road to success was already formed. He came to BGSU to perfect those skills as a selling and sales management major in the College of Business Administration. After graduation, Earle accepted a job at Stouffer's Foods and then moved on to RCA, where he held senior executive marketing and general management positions in service and communications businesses and revolutionized the company.
When I look at how RCA changed under Earle's leadership, when I began with the company, we were selling televisions to hotels, and that was it. Earle looked at that as an opportunity to add telephone systems. We added property management systems. We added satellite systems to show HBO and ESPN, and even energy management systems. So Earle was always looking at the next innovation.
After transforming RCA, Earle set his sights on the world of investment management as Senior Vice President of GT Capital Management and Chief Operating Officer for the GT Global Mutual Funds.
Earle was a very different person that the organization had never seen before. She worked for RCA and GE, selling institutionally, but a product, something you could touch and feel. In the investment management business, it's a concept. It's I'm going to deliver good investment performance for you. So it's a whole different sale. He was a different caliber of individual to come in and brought a whole different skill set to the organization. Quickly, people realized it was a different perspective. He was making a different level of contribution. Immediately came in and demanded the respect of the organization globally. In the investment management business, you measure success on assets raised. And over the course of his tenure in driving the institutional sales activities for me, the assets under management in that area increased fivefold.
From GT, Earle saw the untapped potential in an emerging industry and once again transcended industries with his visionary leadership as president of ValueClick.
Who would think that someone who started selling food, went to selling TV, then experienced selling financial services would ever venture to not just angel invest in an internet advertising company, but step in a very senior executive role as president. That's a big challenge. I think the industry was worth $1 billion back then. It's worth $40 billion now. But that's a big risk to take. Someone who's had such a long career in these other industries, to risk that, to take a chance on something so wildly different. Earle had really good fundamentals. He is a big fan of spending money to make money. You match that with someone who's just a very charismatic leader, someone who's analytical, right? To take a very fundamental business approach to solving problems and growing a business. I mean, that's very much a recipe for success.
Earle returned to the financial services industry as president and CEO of HighMark Capital Management.
He was the driver. At GT Global, he was head of operations, essentially head of the business for moving the funds forward. And at HighMark Capital Management, he was, as president, he was in charge of everything from distribution, development of the products. He basically ran the business for the investment company. At HighMark Capital Management, he had to take a business that had been status quo for a good period of time and had to either make a decision to go one direction or the other. One direction being, do we just try and scale down and become a smaller version of ourselves, or do we go over here and build something of that firm?
Earle had to have this entrepreneurial side, this driven enthusiasm. He recruited a lot of good people. That means he persuaded them to come to HighMark Capital to grow that particular part of the business. And at the same time, he had to liaise with the bank that owned HighMark Capital. And as we all know, that's a tricky thing to play off against each other. You want the spirit of the entrepreneur, but the entrepreneur often doesn't like to be have too much control, have anybody having too much control. He is someone who's worked in the financial business and been very successful at it, and been successful as an entrepreneur and in other businesses. So he has this interesting characteristic that no matter what he's done, he's been pretty successful at it. And that's something to be admired.
Earle Malm, for all you have done to foster the entrepreneurial spirit throughout your career and the impact of your vision, congratulations on your 2014 induction into the Dallas Hamilton Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame at Bowling Green State University.